morning.
Good morning.
Are we on there? Can you hear me? If you will allow, we're going to do a little Zen this morning.
Awesome.
Do you believe that you can hear, or did you just hear? And did you hear? Or did you have thoughts like, you know, I've always wanted a pair of those. I wonder if Jeff down at Artifacts has them. I wonder how much you paid. I wonder if I can get a cheaper pair on Amazon. Today I want to talk about conscious awareness, and that belief is not required. That was an exercise, and I like to do those kind of things. I do those kind of exercises on a moment-to-moment basis because I love being aware of being conscious. And I have become diligent in practicing catching my ego when it would like to take me down the rabbit hole and take me into an unconscious place. And so I want to talk about that, but I also want to talk about our mystical origins and some of the things that are happening out there in the world and what's happening to all of us. I am trying to do without my notes, but I am still a control freak, and I'm still going to cling to my notes a little bit, but I'm working on it. So let me take you on a short journey, and if you will close your eyes for just a minute, go with me here. You wake up to the sound of your phone or your alarm clock, and it's either the radio, or it's a twinkling crystal bell, or it's hard rock, whichever you prefer. And you wake to feel the weight, the warmth, and the softness of your bed. You get up and you put on your favorite slippers, and you pad down the hall, and you listen to your slippers as they meet the carpet, or the tile, or the floor that you've always had. You go into the kitchen and you make your favorite warm or cold beverage, and you experience the temperature and the flavor as it goes into your mouth and down your throat. You shower feeling the warmth and the moisture of this incredible consciousness that I like to call sacred water. You drive to work marveling at the amount of trees that we live with, the color of the sky, what kind of shapes you're seeing in the clouds, the animals or birds that you haven't seen before, and you get to your destination grateful for the amazing amount of experience that you've had since you got out of bed an hour or two ago. And when you get there, do you ask yourself, how did I get to work? I only remember hearing the alarm clock this morning. I don't remember any of it. The difference, you can wake up now. That's the difference between conscious awareness and unconsciousness. Our unconscious, our ego would take us into places of the future or the past and would not allow us to experience the absolutely amazing experiences that are right here in front of our eyes. And the fact is that we don't hear, these things don't hear, and these don't see, but somehow we get all this amazing definition and experience and sensation, don't we? Conscious awareness is our path to leading us back to our mystical selves. The mysteries of our body, the mysteries of our mother planet, and the universe, and its amazing intelligent guidance in all things. Meister Eckhart, who was a 13th century philosopher and theologian, said, though we are the sons and daughters of gods, we haven't realized it yet. But we're beginning to. Elizabeth Shorenka, one of the twins that came to the oneness ceremony that we had back 2 years ago in the fall, walked in, and as an old friend of mine, she whispered in my ear, she said, I have just walked into a room of masters. And I said, she's absolutely correct. And no, your ego can do lots of fun things with that. Who, me? I'm not a master. So-and-so is so much better than me. You ever heard that one? Or, of course I am. Of course I'm a master, blah, blah, blah. But we're going to set that aside and just say, you know what? I really acknowledge all of you for the fact that if you are working on catching your unconscious sometimes, if you can catch your unconscious, it is masterful to do that. Because there's many people, and I think we know lots of them, and they are mystics too. They're just not to the point yet where they're willing to, able to catch themselves when their ego is riding them right over the coals. We have to think about the kind of concepts that we speak about in here, just like what Betty shared. And like John said about oneness, we are one with all there is. That is one of the definitions of mysticism. Our egos are so busy trying to keep us fooled about what it can do for us. And in fact, I got a lovely metaphor that I want to share with you. Have you ever been to a greyhound racing, or you know about dog racing? And I know that when I was growing up in Tampa, there was one particular Saturday night. My sister was 18 and I'm 20, and we're hot stuff, and we go to the dog track because we're absolutely flat broke, and we put $2 on the dog, and we win $20, so we go to the bar, and check out the guys. And so, but it occurred to me, Spirit said, the world is a lot like greyhound racing. And the way it works is that they have the dogs in the chutes, like there's 6 chutes, and there's this little rail that's on the inside of the track with some kind of little vehicle with a long arm that has this fake rabbit that hangs out over the middle of the track. And when the race starts, that little vehicle travels that little rail, and the dogs are chasing that rabbit to beat all ends. The thing is that, hold on. The ego would tell us, if you could work hard enough, if you could get in shape, if you could be healthy, if you could have that relationship, I'm going to give you power and money and fame and prestige. If you will kill yourself for me, I promise you we will find a solution. But what it comes down to is that the ego is blowing sand in your eyes, hoping that you will really be convinced that that is going to be the case. But what you're going to find when you get there is a fake rabbit. You're never going to catch the fake rabbit to begin with, but even if you did, you're like, what a chip. You promised me all this stuff and this is what you're giving me? That's the ego for you. See, for me, I think that the pursuit of things external brings such dismay and disappointment that I am gladly seeking to explore my inner spiritual landscapes. But sadly and yet triumphantly, we're beginning to see the results of our wanting more. What it's doing to our planet, what it does to ourselves, the insanity that we call our world. Matthew Fox says in The Coming of the Cosmic Christ, the human race cannot buy its way or eat its way out of the boredom that is the results of us missing our mysticism. And our mysticism is our connectedness to all that is. Perhaps it sounds very selfish, but to seek my mystical origins, connect with my body, have compassion for my dysfunction and addictions is leading me to acceptance of my shadow side. And then I've noticed as a result that my judgments for myself and you dissipates. It does not feel good to separate from God, from me, or from you. And to see our trees, our plants, our bees, our four-leggeds, our winged ones, our ocean dwellers, as sacred gives me pause to love them for the seed that they plant, to constantly remind me that the world that the ego offers is never going to help me feel whole or full or happy. And that takes me into a field of sacred consciousness that gives permission that as I turn up my light, everybody else, because we are all mystic, because we are all source, that light comes up. And they go, you know, I don't know what it is, but our world seems to be getting better. And in this particular time, His Spirit is asking us to open our hearts, to heal it, to be present, to be full, with all of these amazing teachers out here, Eckhart Tolle, and all of the ones that are coming out of the past, like Meister Eckhart. We are standing in our truth, and as a collective consciousness, we are making changes to this planet. Will it always be perfect? No, this is the land of ego. But can it be better? I absolutely believe that's true. It has to be if I'm present, if I am a part of the consciousness that is experiencing itself. You know, on Facebook they have, just when he was talking about the cow, there was a thing I was watching last night, a little video about a cow playing with a ball and doing tricks like a dog. And it's like, you know, who knew? And then there was another one that I'm like, whoa, this is a completely different come from. You know, this guy's stroking the neck of this 15-foot great white that's holding its head out of the water, and he's sitting on the boat stroking its nose. You know, and I'm like, thank you. Thank you for reminding us that we're one with all that is, and that the ego would like for us to believe that the shark is just a mindless eating machine, and if you fall into the water, you are a dead duck. But that's not true. I mean, I used to live in Tampa, Florida, and hear stories about people encountering sharks and having to stay at a certain level because they had, you know, they didn't want to get the bends coming up from 80 feet. You know, and there's a 15-foot tiger shark swimming around them trying to rub on them to see if they're tasty. You know, and you know, and they're there to tell the story. All they did was push the shark away and like, sorry, you don't get to eat me today. So what does mysticism really look like? This is gorgeous. Abraham Heschel in the Coming of the Cosmic Christ defines it as radical amazement. The mystic in us is moved by radical amazement. And that is the awe of things. And awe is the beginning of wisdom. Mysticism cannot be defined the way that we define things because it's a right-brained experience underlying. That definition is a way we separate, and it's left brain. It cannot fathom what mysticism is. And the fact that mysticism resists definition is really a good thing. Carl Jung said, you cannot know what a cow is by reading what it is in a textbook, in a what do you call it?
Dictionary.
Dictionary. It doesn't tell you anything about the size of the animal, that it can play with balls, you know, or that it stinks. The only way you can have an experience and define what a cow is to experience it. Meister Eckhart says, separate yourself from all of the two-ness. Be one in one, one with one, and one from one. All mystics share this in common. And we are keen on the experience of the divine and will not settle for the theory of knowing what the divine is out of books. A client years ago told me, she said, you know, Jenny, I think that I could prove to you that it says in the Bible that the voices that you hear is not possible. But I don't think I could convince you of that. And I thought about, as I'm thinking about my own mysticism, I'm thinking, hell no! Because the truth and the wisdom that comes to me out of wherever it comes from and I hear is a direct experience with Source, as far as I'm concerned. Compared to a book of paper of thousands of years of misinterpretations and controlling ideas and all of that, no, absolutely not. So, but I thought, you know, that's the difference between me and the beautiful little JW that comes to my door every couple of months. And she's like, this is the Word of God, absolutely, and this is what you have to believe. And I'm thinking, so what about your experience with God? Don't you have any personal connection with it? Where's your head? But that's not where she should live. It should be coming out of the heart, isn't it? So the thing is that the mystics who've written down these beautiful, amazing